Hey guys, welcome to Wake Up Wednesday. And again, we are waking up and doing our best to become more aware, awake, alert to what's going on in the world around us. And I'll tell you, one of the things that I haven't shared that kind of was a wake up trigger call thing to me was just about, I guess, a week ago, a little bit more than a week ago, a couple of weeks ago now, since I had COVID. And it was I was starting to feel better, but it was almost a subconscious act that I went and got on the scale. Now, this isn't something I do all the time. I've learned better than that. Occasionally, I will weigh myself to get a feel for where I'm at, because what I've learned over the years is if I don't let things get too far away from me, then it's easier to kind of come back to where I would rather be. But I guess what this whole thing triggered in me was, oh my God, you've been sick. And that I just know too many people, situations, and women that we've had this experience that at least, the very least, we figure if we're going to be sick is that we could lose a few pounds. Yeah. So I feel like that's probably not very healthy. And so those are the kind of things that I want to be able to talk about. And maybe, you and I can help each other in this category of what is healthy and about body image and about beauty. Instead of beauty sickness, let's have beauty wellness. And what does it mean to love ourselves, love our bodies, understand that we're different, that we're uniquely made, that there is no perfect image. And so that's what takes me to what I want to share with you today. And it will probably take the majority of our time. And I have so much information. So we'll just keep plugging away. But this one, I'm going to share my screen. And I've mentioned this before. So this is and I couldn't figure out how else to do this. So here we are as far as uploading it. Anyway, so what we have here is the article I told you about that I've had for 20 plus years. And this is some of the pictures. And it says Marie Claire looks beyond the Western ideal and celebrates women's beauty through the eyes of beholders around the world. And here is showing barely clad modern beauties at the 1996 Miss Universe pageant. Opposite is a traditional African belize loaded bells. It's kind of small. Maybe I can make this bigger. Not so much. So loaded with intricate Samburu beading. And so she's considered absolutely beautiful in her country, in her culture. And so then the article, there's so much good stuff in the article. It says your breasts may not be as perfect as Pamela Anderson. Again, we're dating ourselves, but that's okay. Pamela Anderson Lee's, your thighs as thin as Kate Moss's, or your abs as flat as Demi Moore's. But don't think for a moment that your droopy décolletage, dimpled thighs, and belly roll aren't beautiful somewhere else. In Senegal, sagging breasts are sexy. Chubby thighs are the rage in parts of Thailand. And in some Saharan countries, belly rolls are the epitome of desirability. Beauty is indeed in the eyes of the beholder, but standards vary depending on where your beholder lives. Attributes considered assets in the West, long legs, slim hips, and a lack of body hair, can be liabilities in other parts of the country, of the globe. As the pressure to conform to one particular aesthetic becomes greater here, try to keep in mind what Erica Jong puts so beautifully in Any Woman's Blues. You're not fat, you're just in the wrong country. And seriously, I think about that all the time when it comes to belief systems or religion. where we're born, we have a tendency, unless you've done a lot of traveling or you've been to other places or had other experiences, we just think that where we are is the way it is everywhere. And it's just not so. Okay, so portliness once denoted privilege in the West, but fell out of fashion by the beginning of the century. Today's society, matrons pride themselves on appearing postpartum in teeny weeny bikinis, but travel to regions where one's daily bread is a blessing, not a given. And you'll find that in terms of the feminine ideal, fat is where it's at. In many Arab societies, obesity means wealth. Among the Tuaregs of Saharan Africa, fat is equated with fertility. Some doting mothers will force feed a daughter to make her chunky, since if she doesn't have at least 12 rolls of fat around her belly, when she bends forward, she'll be thought unfit for marriage. Force feeding is also practiced in Mauritania, where a husband's machoism is measured by his wife's girth. Now, these things seem so incredibly foreign, but these are true for them and their families and in their culture. In the West, big is still beautiful when it comes to breasts, but they must also be high. Elsewhere, the breast maternal function is most important, making a firm, high bust unattractive because it's about nursing, it's about giving life and feeding your children. Senegalese women attach ropes to their breasts and pull on them to achieve maximum droop. In Papua New Guinea, mothers begin pulling and rolling their daughters' breasts as soon as they appear, knowing no man would marry a woman with perky breasts. When it comes to other female body parts, though, Westerners aren't the only ones who think small connotes femininity. In China, Japan, tiny feet are still favored, even though the Chinese practice foot binding has been abandoned. Big feet are prized in the tiny African country of Gabon, and in many parts of the world, wide hips indicate fertility and sensuality. Oh, we're going to skip. I mean, it just keeps going, right? Besides concealment, let's consider adornment. So we can thank the India for the practice of nose piercing, which has now become a rage among the Generation Xers. Kenya's Maasai women not only stick their ears, they stretch them after piercing. A young girl's ears are hung with heavy pendants. Over the years, the weight eventually pulls the lobes down nearly to her shoulders, creating the desired aesthetic effect. In Ethiopia, Surma and Muzi, girls have their lower lips pierced and implanted with baked clay discs. As they grow larger, discs are inserted to increase the size of the lip hole and enhance their chances in the marriage market. The size of a girl's disc indicates how many cattle her family require as a wedding gift. Tooth brighteners and cosmetic dentistry trumpet the Western ideal. Loud and clear, white, squared off teeth are most desirable. Not so in Melanesia, where women chew betel nuts to make their mouths red and gummy. The appeal, men find toothless women more baby-like and thus more apparently subservient. In Japan, the male pale perfection of the geisha's face is enhanced by teeth lacquered black. Women in Mongolia knock out their front teeth, but women in the Congo go one stop further, and they file their remaining teeth to a point. Oh my gosh. So then it talks about decorating the body with paints and tattoos, fashion ads to us and all adds to us and also takes away. Talks about body hair and sugaring in different parts of the country from head to toe, North Africa, elsewhere. Let's see. Hairstyles in the West change every few years, from the straight and slick back to the coif, permed, frosted, and streaked. They change lens. They change less rapidly in other parts of the world, but don't necessarily require less work. African and Caribbean women devote them hours to intricate plaiting, weaving, cornrowing, and three-dimensional threading. Perhaps the Maasai women of Kenya have the best idea of all. They avoid extensive hair rituals altogether by shaving their heads. And so then there are some pictures, right? We have the decorated tattoos. We have the lip disc. The bigger the woman's disc, the greater her price in marriage. We have the nose piercing. We have the number 5, which is, the teeth situation, and these things that were put around the neck to elongate the neck, the pulling of the breasts so that they're nice and saggy, and the geisha, the white face, the 12 rolls of fat. So my goodness, can you just see, right? To me, this made it so obvious to realize that what I'm calling beauty is literally simply because of the images that are been put before me and what I've been taught based on my culture. I am an American, white American woman. And this is what is shown to me repeatedly. And so I just feel like this article is incredible in showing that beauty is it's whatever. There is no such thing. There's no standard for beauty. It really is in the eye of the beholder. And then the eye of the beholder changes according to culture. So if we can lift our eyes up out of the dark ages and understand what we're being told, and we can really look at the heart and soul of a person, of the beauty of an individual and what they represent, we will be so much better off. Okay, so next week we're going to go more into some of the images that are put in front of us, and even talk about eating disorders and tell you more about my story. But I just want to continue to expose this and help ourselves, to help myself and others feel better about the body that we're in, and just understand that what we've been given. Do our parts work, right? Is our heart beating? And are we able to get around and do the things that we need to do to be healthy and to enjoy life, and stop putting so much emphasis and focus on our appearance and becoming obsessed with that. So I will see you next week on Wake Up Wednesday, where we will continue this conversation.